easy for us to sit and say, wow, that was me. How many of you say with me about it? If that was me, I would change.
No, you wouldn't.
There's other studies that show that 80% of the major medical problems in our world today are based on 5 behavioral issues. Too much eating. I hate to hear that. How many of y'all hate to hear that?
There's no such thing as too much eating.
Too much drinking. Too much smoking. Too much stress. Hate to hear that one. And too much inactivity or lack of exercise. Hate to hear that one. 80% of many of the issues that come medically, major medical issues, are attributed by the medical community to at least one or more of those 5 issues. This is not a medical forum that you came in on this one. This is a look at how it is difficult for us. We may well be like the 9 out of 10 people who would rather die than change. Rather die than change. At least that's what they concluded in the medical study of the 9 out of 10 coronary bypass patients, that they would rather die than change. You know that change of when you say, I want to change, you know what I mean? How many of you say, I want this to happen? I want that to happen. And when we say it, our intentions are very, very good. Most of the time. And in our mind, we want to. I like this definition of want, though, that I came across this week. This author says it's the sanctified desire and matching discipline to do what needs to be done, no matter how hard it is or how long it takes. That's his definition of want. A sanctified desire for want, matched with discipline to do what needs to be done, no matter how hard it is or how long it takes. Did you hear Wanda did not know what my sermon was going to be on this morning, but she says she wants to preach one day. And she already did. You know what I'm saying? So she already did. Did you hear what Wanda said? I want to be reconciled to my family. I want to be reconciled to my family. I want to be, and you fill in the blank. I want to be more connected with. I want to forgive. I want to be free. I want to no longer be lonely. I want to no longer experience bitterness. I want to no longer worry. How many of y'all just wish you could stop worrying? I want to stop. How many of you say, I want to stop worrying? I want to stop worrying. I want to just stop worrying. I don't want to worry anymore. I still don't want to worry anymore. I don't want to worry anymore. And then we treat it like it's a flu bug. That is a viral infection. Worry is. You see. Well, what I love about this is that Jesus, the King of the universe, has already talked to us about this want-to thing. He's already talked to us about it. And we've been looking at, for example, over the last few weeks about miracles and how they apply to us today and what happens when miracles take place. For a lot of people, how many of you have ever said, I want a miracle to take place in my life? Or maybe you've even said, I need a miracle. You ever said that? I need a miracle. And so, because we say, I heard you, Mike. Mike said you said that last night. He probably prayed. He got one while he was deep in prayer. So, you see, we say, I need a miracle. I want a miracle. Why do other people get miracles and I don't? Is what people say. Part of it is because we go after them. Think I said last week, more like magic than miracle. I wanted us to take a look at what I believe to be a biblical approach to seeing God do work in what we call miracles today. And we have often thought of miracles as something that are completely outside of ourselves, have nothing to do with us. Hello. The miracle Mike prayed for last night, God gave that one. The miracle that Mike talked about required the hard work of about 22 people. It just happened. And so we find in our lives, here comes the microphone. I would love the miracle of losing 20 pounds. And if I pray hard enough, it'll happen. And furthermore, if I not only just pray hard enough, but if I believe that I can lose 20 pounds, then it'll happen. Those miracles require fasting. Now there she goes being legalistic. She's adding something to the scriptures. This is a familiar passage of scripture from John chapter 5. Matthew, if you put it on the screen for me. Soon after, another feast came around, and Jesus was back in Jerusalem. Keep going until I say stop. Near the sheep gate in Jerusalem, there was a pool of Hebrew called Bethesda with 5 alcoves. Hundreds of sick people, blind, crippled, paralyzed, were in these alcoves. One man had been an invalid there, but he couldn't move for 38 years. Next. When Jesus saw him stretched out by the pool and knew how long he had been there, he said, "Do you want to get well?" Now, we're going to stop for just a minute. Just keep it on the screen. You see that word want? You see the word want? Think about the word want. Do you want to get well? If your definition of want is, I have a strong desire that maybe someday that might happen, or I wishfully think it will happen, I am hoping that it will happen, I am dreaming about maybe it will happen, then that's, do you want to get well? You can say yes. But it seems to me that Jesus may have had something a little deeper here. Maybe what he wanted to know when he used the word want was, do you have a sanctified desire and the matching discipline? Do you see, if you've not done something for 38 years, how many of you, when you quit exercising and you're thinking about going back to exercise, and somebody asks you, do you want to exercise? And you say yes. But inside you haven't done it for a while. You've forgotten what the benefits are or how it makes you feel. And so you stay away from it because you don't want to go back to it on the one hand, but you like the benefits of it on the other hand. In other words, we like the benefits of getting well. Hello? We like the benefits of all that happening, but sometimes we struggle with it. Just like this man. Many people have looked at that question and say, really, Jesus didn't have a very good bedside manner. What would you do if you were lying on a bed in a hospital room and your doctor walked in? And the doctor looked at you and you had this disease or this problem for 38 years. And your doctor looks at you and says, do you want to get well? What would you do And what would you say to this wonderful doctor with this wonderful bedside manner? Are you kidding me? You may not say it to him because you're scared of doctors. You may not say it to her because you're scared of doctors. But you might you might say something like, are you kidding me? And you would tell your family and friends, she is never coming in this room again. Hello? Asking stupid questions like that. I am lying in a hospital bed. Do you think I got here because I don't want to get well? Do you think this guy was lying beside the pool where people jumped in the pool to get well because he didn't want to get well? What's up with Jesus here? Hello?
He knows what he's doing.
But I hate it. I hate studying this passage. I'm telling you, I hate studying this passage. I hate preaching about it, to be honest with you. I used to like it because I thought it was about y'all.
And then...
Get my grip, don't you? I used to love preaching about it. I get fired up preaching about this. And now I get mad about it. Because whenever I study it now, I realize this is the same question Jesus is asking me. He's asking me this question. He's not just asking this dude this question. He is asking me this question. And that's what I like about this passage. If I thought it was just about Mike Farrell, I'd preach till a house burned down. But do you want to get well? Well, I don't know. I used to think I did. I used to be a little bit like this guy. And Matthew, you'll go to the next verse, please. The sick man said, sir, when the water's stirred, I don't have anybody to put me in the pool. By the time I get there, somebody else is already in. If I just had the body chemistry of Lenora, I could lose weight. It's my metabolism. It's her cooking. That's her fault. About the time I'm about to lose weight, she bakes a batch of cookies. And then asks me to sample them to be sure they're good. This is not about the weight. Y'all do understand this. About the time I get this gym thing right, I quit. About the time I've got my schedule down to where I'm doing it. Anybody with me here? And then I wonder why I start feeling worse. I'm being honest with you about me right now. Okay, so it's a little bit like this kid. I wish I was joyful, but I hate them. If I could just have the joy of the Lord, the miracle of the joy of the Lord, if I could just be like y'all and be happy all the time. God is not giving that to me. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. And about the time I start feeling better, somebody else says something bad to me. Am I talking to anybody this morning? Just share this with your neighbors. Share this with your neighbors. I really got something to worry about. They don't have nothing to worry about. No one. Hey, look at Dan. Hey, look at me smiling. He ain't got nothing to worry about. I can tell. Look at him smiling. He ain't got nothing to worry about. Look at him. And Larry's over here grinning like everything's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's because he ain't got nothing to worry with. He don't have what I got. He don't have the struggles I got. He's not around the people I'm around. He don't know what I've been through. He didn't have my mom and daddy to put up with. He don't know about my sister and my brother. Y'all don't know about my brother. The stuff I put up with these younger brothers. Nobody knows this. But I So true, he doesn't know anything about stress. That's why he's joyful. Wanda's funny because she ain't been through nothing. She ain't ever been through nothing. By the time I get there, somebody else is already in. Why are they getting a blessing and I'm missing mine? Why are they getting miracles and I ain't? John 5:8. Go to the next one. Jesus said, get up, take your bedroll, and start walking. Get your bedroll and start. Now, that sounds easy to me because I don't exactly know what a bedroll is, you know. I mean, I think I do. I think it's one of the things you lay, you know, it's a mat down there. You roll that thing up and you. And when I was in Israel about 4 years ago, we went to this place. And they had excavated it out, and you could see it from way up, right outside Jerusalem. And you could see it right out there, the colonnade. And it was huge, and the columns were huge. And that's where they just laid around it. And the angel, remember, the Bible says, stir the water around. So that whoever got in first did get a miracle. And this guy laid there he must have been for a long time. You see, and sometimes, some of you have heard me say this before when I preach on this passage on my back is, you know, he said, I didn't have anybody basically to shove me in. I didn't have anybody else to get me in. About the time I'm getting down there, but Jesus didn't even pay attention to all that, did he? What did he say? He said, get up, take your bedroll, and start walking. That's what Wanda was talking about. Did y'all hear that? Prayer. And that's the helicopter and the boat story. You with me here? That's a mama who kept praying Miss Amy. Right? That's what Dan saw is when you pray for somebody else. What? It changes you. The cool thing about praying for and getting up your bedroll and walking is that it changes you more than anybody else. And so the cool thing is miracles are not magic that God does to me apart from me. Miracles are not what God does in me apart from me. Our God is strong outside of us. Was that the song that was sung this morning? Our God is strong in us. In Ephesians it says that power that is in us is like a working of his mighty power when he raised Jesus from the dead. The miracles he uses is through human beings and with human beings in partnership with human beings. It's been true in the church history. You've seen it from the Old Covenant writings, the Old Testament, all the way down through the New Testament. And somehow there's a Gnostic view. The Gnostic view is that spiritual is here and human and flesh is here, and never the twain shall meet. That is a Gnostic gospel. It is not the gospel of Jesus Christ. The gospel of Jesus Christ is given clearly to us when God sent his son Jesus to come and live among us. So he was Emmanuel, God with us. And he became on the day of Pentecost, Emmanuel, not just God with us, but God in us on the day of Pentecost. And so from this day forward in the new covenant, then it is God in us. Not just God with us. Not just God for us. But God for us, with us, and in us. That's really, really, really good news. Because it means that I get to be co-heirs, the Scripture says, with him. Because of what Jesus has done. And so I'm co-heirs with him. And so I then can see him do his work. It is never then my job to do it by myself. Or to think I need to speak. No. God does the miracle work, but he does it with me and in me. It is still his work. It is not what I say that causes the miracle. It is that I cooperate with him as I say what he says. I cooperate with him. It is never me doing it over him and instructing him. It is not that. It is like with God,
in partnership. Look what happened here. The man was healed on the spot. He picked up his bedroll and walked off. That day happened to be the Sabbath. That doesn't sound like a big deal to us, does it? Keep going. The Jews stopped the healed man and said, it's the Sabbath. You can't carry your bedroll around. It's against the rules.
Wow.
I love that verse. Love it. It's against the rules. Now, there were some 600 and something rules that were made by the Pharisees back then, by the leaders of that day, of the religious group. And there were 600 something of them, 340 something of them were negative kind of things. And one of them was you can't carry your bedroll. The other was you can only go a certain amount of time. If you were outside of Jerusalem. When you were inside Jerusalem, you could walk all around. I got an idea. Brother Man was walking all up and down in the streets in Jerusalem. I walked in the streets of Jerusalem, I could wore myself out. So I bet you he was walking, carrying that bedroll. Can you see him?
Yeah.
38 years he was walking around here with all this stuff going on. And so they say, you can't be carrying that bedroll. You know what I intended to do with my sarcastic sense of humor? I said, watch me. See what happened here. But he told them, the man who made me well told me to. He said, take your bedroll and start walking. Hello? He said, do it. It required this guy doing what he was told. Hello? Miracles require us doing what we're told. Not us telling God what to do. Oh, did y'all hear that? That's good stuff right there. Miracles are not about us telling God what to do. Miracles are about doing what God tells us to do. The miracle of the miracle of joy and peace comes from me doing what he says to do about bitterness. He says, get rid of it. We want to get rid of it. We don't want to get rid of bitterness, but hang on to it, but we want joy. You do not have the miracle of joy in the middle of difficulty when you hang on to the root of bitterness. In Hebrews it says, it grows up, causes trouble, and defiles many people. A bitter root does. Keep going. They asked, who gave you the order to take it up and start walking? Next verse. But the healed man didn't know, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd. Keep going. A little later, Jesus found in the temple and said, you look wonderful. You're well. Don't return to the city life or something worse might happen. The man went back and told the Jews it was Jesus who had made him well. Next, they're going to say, oh, okay, what Jesus said, it was fine. Oh, let's see, verse 16. That is why the Jews were out to get Jesus, because he did this kind of thing on the Sabbath. Imagine the audacity to do something like this on the Sabbath. Imagine it. Do you know that when you see the freedom that Jesus gives you, there are many people around you who may say things like, that don't seem right to me. If you forgive them, they might do it again. Hello? Y'all never felt like that. If I forgive them, they might do it again.
Yeah.
They might. How many of y'all are glad that Jesus forgave us even though we might do it again? What if he just said, I ain't forgiving your sin because I know you're going to do it again? Huh? That's not what he said. But hey, and so for us, there's a privilege then we have of understanding that as we cooperate with him, something begins to happen. Next verse, just two more verses. But Jesus defended himself. My Father is working straight through, even on the Sabbath. So am I. Come on, y'all, talk to me. How many of y'all know? On the seventh day he rested, but apparently he's busy. On the seventh day he rested, but Jesus said, my Father's working on the Sabbath, and so am I. So we got to say, I can do a job. That's not what we're talking about. He's talking about doing the work of God. You see what I'm saying? So the idea is he's not, I can study all the rules. And neither is the Father, because, see, Jesus was sure of this, is that he knew who the King of the universe was, and he knew his relationship with God the Father was, and he knew he was the King, too, in the flesh. And so, when he knew that, he Final verse. This really set them off. That really set them off. The Jews were now not only not to expose him, but they were out to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was calling God his own Father, putting himself on the level of God. Calling God his Father. What a tragedy. What a tragedy. You know, sometimes when you start cooperating with God in the miracle things he wants to do in your life, other people get upset about it. Other people get upset. A friend of mine, for example, he had no intentions of God changing his life and what he set out to do. But God, at age 45, God changed him. Saved him, filled him with the Holy Spirit. He had been married for 30 years to a woman that he and her were drinking buddies. When he came to know Jesus, he stopped drinking. She did. She spent the rest of their life ripping him because he was a follower of Jesus. But he told me many times, he said, the reason she's angry at me is she lost her drinking buddy. Hello? Sometimes those people we want that are close to us, sometimes those people we want to see, we want to rejoice with us, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they struggle to do that. Let's finish. But I'd like for the worship team to come and lead us in. Our God is strong in us. Sometimes you guys can come now. Sometimes I think we struggle with the idea that somehow, if we talk about cooperating with God in the work that he wants to do in us, the miracles he wants to do, is that somehow we think that is earning our way, or that there should not be any effort. In our world today, there's kind of a focus, in the church world today, there's a focus that it's grace, it's what God does, and he does all those things. And if you cooperate with him, then you're somehow undermining what God's doing. I think it's great news to announce to you today, not that you don't know it, but to remind some of you and announce to some of the rest of you, is he loves to work with you. He loves to work with me. He wants to do this how he created us. It's his order in the universe. It's what he said. He longs to do it with us. He longs to do it with us. He wants to do it with us. Not just with the preachers, not just with the leaders. He longs to do it with us. He longs to do it with us. That's what he wants to do. He longs for us to be able to say our God is strong in us. We're not ordering God around and telling him, remember that? It's not a miracle when I'm telling him what to do. It's a miracle when I follow what he tells me to do. Just like this man did here. And it's a great privilege I have. And when I walk along, and I love hearing stories of how God works and the miracles that take place when we are willing to work with him. How many of you are glad that Wanda Brooks allowed God to work with her? I'm really glad that I've allowed God to work with me. And I appreciate being able to see how God is at work with you. With you. You're not just doing something for him, you're working with him. There's a big difference, and we're going to talk a bit more about that in Sundays to come, is that it's a privilege to do it with him. Not for him, not under him, not over him, not just from him, but with him. Stand with me, let's sing our God is strong.